Good day, colleagues and the broader family of ECSA. My name is Mokgoro, the current Acting CEO of ECSA, having been given the mandate to do and hold the interim stewardship of the organization, whilst other matters which I'll get to are being dealt with by the Council. As you know, we have a new council. This is the sixth-term council of the Engineering Council of South Africa, and under the leadership of Mr. Lawrence Lebeya and the Vice President, Ms. Refilwe Buthelezi. This sixth-term council is a council that will give effect to the 5-year strategic plan of the organization upon one specific objective. And that objective is to render and turn ECSA into an effective regulator. To support that objective, we as an organization have also identified what we call the big-ticket key strategic enterprise-wide strategic risks, which risks we believe once we can focus the organization on in dealing with, we will then take the organization into the next level. And just for your purposes, those risks are, one is the loss of relevance of ECSA by key stakeholders like yourself. Two is the weakening financial sustainability, and I'm sure we can identify and relate to this within the context of this pandemic. Three is just the issues, especially with the pandemic once more, around the lack of business continuity as a result of the uncertainties and the disruptions that have been caused by this pandemic. Fourthly is the inadequate systematic plan for the engineering skills pipeline. How do we ensure that we keep depositing into this engineering profession with a new incoming entrants from the universities? Fifth is the untransformed engineering profession. We all know that our country has a particular history, and that history has to be turned around. And that turning around of the history is about the transformation programs that we are running in our facets, in our different facets in our lives, especially us in the engineering profession. Six is the fact that we are just an ineffective regulator by virtue of the act that we have, and processes being put in place to enhance the regulations around to being a regulator. And then the last is about the issues that one can see as being more internal regime, also being a byproduct of the act itself, that is the Engineering Professions Act. I think I should actually pause at this moment to just maybe talk about one matter that should be lurking in all our minds and all your minds, as being the key stakeholders of the Engineering Council of South Africa. It is a matter that pertains to the CEO. I have been advised by the chairperson, which is the President of Council, that the investigation has been concluded with a presentation of the report to the joint committees of Council, being the committees of Finance and Staff, the Committee of the Audit, Risk and Compliance, as well as the Executive Committee of Council, wherein the President presented the outcome of the investigation. What has happened subsequent to that, the resolution has been taken by those committees as mandated by Council to advance the matter to the next stage, which is the stage of a formal hearing that will be conducted. There are specific programs that I thought you'd have an interest in terms of knowing, and the important one is the one that relates to the identification of works. And this is one of those programs that really underscores the objective that we've put forward in our strategic plan, that of being an effective regulator, where we are actually putting forward that the work of engineering profession must be done by engineers and not any other. In terms of this program, we have already, we've gazetted the idea of work through the assistance of the CBE, and the gazetting was done around March. And the next process that will unfold which we are looking to yourselves to be keen participants of. And the first of these consultations we are having in this very month of August. And I must report the Ministry of Public Works as well as the Council for the Built Environment have endorsed and pledged their support for these consultations. This is, as I said, to ensure that we actually have an effective regulation of the engineering profession. And in addition to this, one of the major programs that we actually looked at, especially given what we experienced last year, is the online accreditation of engineering programs at our institutions. And this is, what we did this as part of our digital transformation of our operating model, our business model, something that makes us relevant going forward in terms of the fourth industrial revolution. And in the previous year, because of COVID, we could not accredit any engineering program or the institution of higher learning, and we had then to devise an alternative, and the accreditation of the online accreditation was developed, and the policy was approved by the relevant committee of ECSA, and we piloted the project and have concluded to date 5 universities programs that have been accredited on online platforms. I think a matter that would be of interest to yourselves as the stakeholders, and especially our voluntary associations, is the issue around the gazetting of fees. We did gazette this in March, and it is our hope and our resolve that in the current year, the processes for the determination of these fees will start much earlier. And again, as it is, we will look to yourselves as the practitioners to assist in this regard in terms of the technical support to achieve and get this right. As part of our support to yourselves and to our registered persons, in line with the hardships of COVID, we actually took a decision as the council to not levy any increment to the fees that we're levying to our registered persons. So we've kept the fees in terms of the annual fees as well as the application fees for our registered persons or those who want to register as professionals or candidates, same as we had. You will realize that most of our work is dependent on yourselves, and you know that, and that's how we operate. And this is about the concept of self-regulation. And as a result of this, we call upon yourselves, and most have already done, to come forward and be, our assessors to process our applications, review, moderate. We can't have any other people do this except for yourselves, who are the people, the registered persons of this organization. And this would be yourselves coming from industry, the academia. And I must also report that there's been a huge complaints with respect to, ability to get hold of ECSA telephonically or report to you that we are in the process. We are rolling out an entire program for the modernization of our communications platform. And in that regard, one of the things that we've taken a resolve on is to bring back our what we call call center or our contact center from being an outsourced service back into ECSA. Because who are the people to answer the queries of our registered persons best, rather than the people who actually work with these things? It's us. And part of this is to ensure that we have better service delivery and especially an expeditious and prompt response time to queries. I think that's a very, very important aspect of what you're trying to achieve. So I thought I should just share this with yourselves, colleagues. This way of communicating in terms of video, we hope to do this on a quarterly basis. And it's also a way for us to remain relevant in terms of the use of digital platforms for communication and effective communication. I want us, something terrible has happened, and I want us to have a reflection on that. We've lost Mr. Cyril Gamede, who was the president of the Fifth Term Council of ECSA, and our thoughts and condolences go to his family, friends, And we ourselves as ECSA have lost a colleague, a mentor, and we'll have him in our thoughts at all times. I wanted to just thank you for your continued support. We could not be able to do what we're doing without you, to be quite honest. So we are totally reliant on yourselves. And I want to also assure you that this organization is operational. It's a well-oiled machine. The center is holding, and council has indicated its desire and willingness and demonstrated that the matters that are kind of come to affect the stability of the organization will be dealt with expeditiously, fairly, and justly. Thank you.